Not the start that Manchester United were looking for, losing 3-1 to Crystal Palace. Shaka Hislop joining me now to discuss. Shaka, Crystal Palace didn't score three past any side over the whole of last season. They go to Old Trafford and they do so against this Manchester United side. What happened?
Well, what happened was Palace, building on their result of last week against Southampton, where they had a good win, a hard-fought win. Manchester United coming out the blocks, maybe expecting some of that form we saw back end of last season and that Bruno Fernandes magic to see them through. But Bruno Fernandes didn't have the kind of impact that we'd come to expect. United all over the park were second best by some distance. Palace took the lead and looked comfortable throughout. As much as United were able to get one back, in all honesty, the better team won and comfortably.
Credit to Zaha with his goal today, but Shaka, he had a field day against the centre-backs. There's some questions to be asked there in defence, surely.
Yeah, without question. Listen, the first goal comes where I think Shaw is just fast asleep at the far post and well, switching off is freezing it nicely for Shaw. After that, Zaha and in particular Lindelof was having an absolute field day, and the third goal summed it up. Zaha just collects the ball. Lindelof's not sure where he is or how to deal with him. And it's in the back of the net, and it's game, set, and match just when United are maybe thinking they can get an ill-deserved point out of this game. But it summed up the difference between the two. And as much as we've been talking about Zaha and him wanting a way, whether Crystal Palace can continue to hold on to him, where would be a likely destination, Zaha does that to a Manchester United team who finished third last season. And in the form we've seen, albeit over 90 minutes, they need a lot of work if they are to recognise those heights yet again.
And you wonder if they should be prioritising a new defender over somebody like Jadon Sancho right now after seeing that today.
Yeah, and that's been the debate, and where I feel stats don't help in a lot of these discussions. And as much as we've spoken about the need for Jadon Sancho, and I've felt how their front three come front four had led their charge to finishing as high as they did last season. I felt they weren't good enough at the back. But then you look at the stats, and statistically, they're one of the best in the league in terms of goals conceded. Yet you never really got that feel, or I certainly didn't get that feel in looking at them play during the back end of last season. You look at them over the 90 minutes, and it sums up how many of us felt about Manchester United at the back, that they needed work. They needed at least a couple of defenders. Question marks are around David De Gea, and I don't think he was to blame for the goals today at all. But you do have to question that entire defensive unit as a back five. And I'm not sure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the answers in that locker room at the very least.
Well, you mentioned Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Will the questions continue to be asked about whether he actually is the right fit there as manager at Manchester United?
Listen, the way they finished, I was saying yes. He had to be given the start to this season. And now the caveat to that, and you heard that from Solskjaer saying in his pre-game press conference, is a lot of these teams haven't had a decent pre-season. They've had a couple of weeks off at best. And now it's who's been able to cope with this unusual circumstance better than their opponent. For today, it's been Crystal Palace. But for Solskjaer to continue to make the case that he's the long-term solution for Manchester United, things have to turn around very quickly. It's not going to be much longer that people are going to accept, yeah, we didn't have a good preseason. We had players away on international duty. We're only just getting back together. We're looking to sign some others, and then it all has to come together. We'll accept that for a week or two, but after that, I'm not so sure Shaka can fall back on that excuse.
There was some controversy, though. What did you make of the penalty decision for Palace?
I thought it was a penalty, no question. And then, of course, as far as David De Gea is encroaching part of the goalkeepers union, I'm going to say it's harsh. And I know everybody's going to say, well, VAR says, and the rule is you know, if you're an inch off the line. I'm goalkeepers union and I'm old school, and you knew back in the day you could get away with those. So I'm very biased in saying that I think David De Gea was harshly adjudged. Keep your comments to yourself. It's falling on deaf ears.
No, but give us some insight to it, Shaka, because how hard is it then as a goalkeeper to then be thinking not to step off your line like that with all else that's going on?
Yeah, listen, I understand that's a challenge. And I was a part of some of those early discussions around what can and cannot be allowed for the goalkeeper in terms of, well, keeping one foot on the line. And I understand. It's unnatural to have both feet on the line. You can now have one. So, you know, you have to be aware of that. And now the question in coping with that is, so just kind of give me your own natural body mechanics. Do you start, you know, half an inch behind the line and then, you know, let your kind of natural body mechanics take you into what is a correct position? There's one for the goalkeepers of today to work on. And again, I sympathize. I was in the room when we were recrafting or starting to recraft some of those regulations around goalkeepers. I also understand how difficult it is in trying to make those saves, in doing what comes naturally to you. But as I say, Kay, I'm still a fully paid up member of the Goalkeepers Union, and my bias is going to be towards the goalkeepers as opposed to the referees and the VAR and the laws.
And that's fair enough. And I think overall, it just was a Manchester United side that were lacking ideas today, not the side we were seeing after the restart. I suppose the only bright spot was the debut for Donny van de Beek and him actually scoring on it, but a bad start for Manchester United in the new Premier League season.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.